Hi all, I'm Xavier, a real estate agent with PropNext. I've been in this line for more than 10 years. So today, I'm back with another topic. I've been touching a lot about the why factor, the how factor, the strategy, the processes, the thought processes. Today, I'll just go straight into a product which I think is kind of flying under the radar. It's probably not very well reviewed because it is not a new upcoming mega project in the OCR location. It's actually a freehold property in the RCR location that is considered a small property to many, but I find it as one of the bigger, smaller ones, or you can call it the entry-level, mid-sized development that is definitely worth looking moving forward. Here's a chart that actually I went through in my last sharing, talking about the lease decay issue. So that's why the focus over here, why, for me, if you've been following me, I always try to be a little bit more forward-looking. I think when you're always looking in the past and analyzing based on past evidences and transactions, it does help, to form a certain picture, but I feel that there's always changes moving forward. And if you want to keep ahead of the rest in terms of making money, making more informed choices, I think it's better to look towards the leading indicators. So that's why I'm looking at this. Not a lot of people is talking about it. Okay, so I just put this chart out again. This is freehold versus 99 years on a resale basis. Although I'm actually going to review a freehold new launch property, I took this resale one because there are not many new freehold properties on the market. And if you realize, if I take freehold versus 99 years for a new property per se, then it's not really representing the entire market because a lot of the new properties, new freehold properties they're selling are also in the central area. So it ends up actually being a CCR versus maybe a rest of Singapore or CCR versus a OCR, which is not entirely capturing the entire, understanding the entire market. So you have to understand when you're looking at data, when people are presenting data, is to really go deeper and to understand, what makes up the data that is being shown. That's why over here I showed freehold versus 99 on a resale basis because it represents the general market. You want to kind of know where the gap is forming, As you can see over here, the freehold and the 99 gap has been, decreasing. And I see the certain opportunities in the freehold market, especially you have the budget and with the lease decay issue coming very soon. It's something, it's a good product class that you can move towards to in terms of increasing or changing the quality of your property, or maybe just buying the first one as a freehold property. All right, so you can take a look at this chart. And also, if you haven't seen my other videos, please feel free to review them. Take a look at them because I think it all builds up to the products that I'm sharing also. All right, so the product I'm sharing is actually Arcady and Boon Keng. I think there's certain negative connotation with it, some negative reviews. Not many people like it because of some, I would say, some generalization or maybe some experiences in a certain area, which I'll talk about. Okay, but here are some fact sheet details. All right, you can see that the tenure is freehold. Okay, importantly, the number of units is 172. 172, if you ask me, it doesn't really fall under the shoebox apartment kind of developments where there are less than 50 units or even less than 100 units. As long as you're somewhere around 200 units, I feel that you're already a mid-sized development. 172 is below 200, but I think we are near that. But more importantly, when you look into the area, what is it in relative to? So I like to use this term called in context because let's say in this area, all the freehold properties are of certain small size. Just by being a mid-sized development, you actually stand out from them altogether. Okay? So this is some information. I won't go deep into this. It's just a simple Google Arcady and you can find everything about it. If you've got any other questions about the development per se, of course, you can reach out to me. All right, if you find this interesting. So how do I shortlist a property? I have a certain matrix. I think I shared this before. It's called the STAR matrix. S stands for supply and demand. T stands for transformation. A is the attributes of the development, which is very important because eventually, although you're buying new, eventually when it's on the resale market, when you're going to rent it out, the person has to see it for themselves. They're not going to a show flat. Every show flat, whether it's a 50-unit development or 1,000 units mega developments, are going to be the most beautiful ever, right? Because their developers are putting in a lot of money to sell. But ultimately, it boils down when you're trying to turn it for a profit, sell in the future, it boils down to the attributes of it. So you want to see how good it will turn out to be. All right, and the last one, of course, is the risk and rewards, mainly revolving around price. What is some of the transacted? What's the expected transacted over there? Is it a different? Is it old price tag, new price tag? How's the rental demand over there, and some of the rental that they are fetching? All right, so this is a STAR matrix, and I try to look at it again as a more forward-leading indicators point of view, rather than always benchmarking it to the past. Okay, so this is the matrix that is used for looking at products. Okay, down to products. Okay, what are the concerns for Arcady right from the get-go? Let me just touch about it. Okay, it's a small development, definitely. I think because of COVID situation, I mean, this line for more than 10 years. I think freehold, a lot of people like it. But at the same time, freehold, there are many of them that are very small, less than 50 units. Some, Joo Chiat, Geylang, even along Upper Serangoon Road, there's mechanized car park. You can't even park your car properly. And when the mechanized car park lift is not working, you can't even get your car out. You have to wait for it, right? So it's not the most ideal situation. But also mainly after COVID, during COVID, people yearn space. And because of our population wealth increasing, and the wealth increase, the income increase is throughout Singapore. So you got a lot of upgraders demand in the OCR location. That's why the 3-bedroom, 4 bedrooms are doing very, very well. So it leads to the smaller developments that are least favored also because, there's always the talk about the low volumes and high maintenance costs per se, right? Okay, so that's quite true in that sense. But again, you have to look at it in comparison with the rest of the developments over there and how many units does it have, right? So for Arcady, like I mentioned, it's 172 units. I don't think it's that small. So maybe that concern, a small unit concern, may not be pertain 100% to this Arcady development, okay? The distance to MRT, in that area, if you're familiar, later I'll just quickly show you the area. Yes, in general, it takes quite a distance to walk, but you will realize that Arcady is the best over there. It's situated the nearest to MRT station. Okay, per performance, I do agree. Okay, later I'll show you. But again, I'll drill down to the exact details on why it actually will differentiate itself from the other competitors in the area. And of course, a higher PSF for new projects for freehold. Because of all these inherent issues, the prices have not really risen as fast. So there's a price gap for a new one now as compared to the older ones then. But the question then is it worth to pay that premium altogether? Okay, so this is what we will be investigating shortly. Okay, next slide over here. So this shows the map, okay, of the entire area. Now I highlighted, this part in blue and also in the L red shade. These two areas actually sums up the entire freehold, non-landed residential developments in this Boon Keng area. Okay, and where the circled star is where Arcady is on block of the EuroAsia apartments. And you can see it right from the get-go over here that it's the nearest walking distance to Boon Keng. In fact, I think it's just less than 5 minutes. All right, so when you compare the entire area over there, firstly, it is nearest to the MRT. Okay, now, secondly, when you look into details, the L-shaped red color zone areas is where people have a very negative view about the place. They are not wrong because I know this area inside out. I go down there to have makan also. I go through the park connector over there because I'm living not too far away from that area. That area is quite inaccessible, it's quite messy, it's quite dirty, and I think the worst thing is the facing to PIE and CTE. So those that are facing there, it's very, very noisy, okay? And the fact that all these developments, I would say they're built in the era of the bay windows and planter. So they are not really that efficient. Later I'll just show you also some of the layouts. So with all this, right, and you look at Arcady, I feel that Arcady itself will be naturally differentiated and stand out, okay? So the next slide over here, you will see that, okay, I just want to highlight because I'm talking about S stands for supply. What are the total supply over here? You will realize when you add up all these freehold residential, in fact, there are not many, private residential. Beside this space, just opposite is 8 River Suites. Yes, that is the household name over there, but it is also not that well liked because it is very dense and clustered in how they built the development if you've been there before. Okay, but over here, this is the only area which are freehold. But when you drill down into the number of units, you realize it's very limited. All the red color area circuits is around 1 mega development that is 1,000 unit. And the rest of the developments, the biggest that compared is just opposite it, which is region residences at 180 units. So less than 200, somewhere near 200, 172 for Arcady is already considered the biggest over there. That's why you have to compare in that area. So when you compare and with the rest that's maybe less than 100 units or so, or just slightly over 100, it's actually well differentiated. It's actually not too bad, right? So first thing is the limited supply. Secondly, it has one of the most number of units development as compared to the rest. Okay? Now, when we drew in further and we look at our competitor analysis, I also want to look at, how are the layouts down there, right? So region residences being just opposite, of course, also slightly nearer, but it's further away to the MRT. And also 50 units, quite a similar size development, right? But when you look at the layouts, you realize that Arcady, it's really well designed to win all this. The amount of bay windows, if I can just show you one over here, you can look at firstly, there's bay windows that surround the entire unit. Okay, there's bomb shelter, yes, there's also balcony. And you can also look at the width of the living room, how narrow it is if you place a television. And this is 807 square feet. If you place a television, that television alone fits the entire wall. So you can't really centralize your sofa per se. You can't really centralize your sofa because maybe only your right side sofa is facing the TV, your left side is facing the other side. So if you're OCD, you have trouble with this particular layout. Besides that, I don't like the fact that all their bedroom too, if you realize, is all only a single bed. Only can fit a single bed. The fact that the developer put a single bed means that it can only comfortably fit a single bed. A super single, all right? And you see the walkways are also quite long. It is over 800 square feet, but I don't think it's a good use of space. All right, so basically, this is the layout. And the other thing altogether is the unit mix. I think unit mix is very important, and that's the reason why shoebox apartments or those investment grade developments are not doing well, because they are mainly, dominated by 1 and 2 bedroom units. You see over here is the same. There's no 3 bedroom, there's no 4 bedroom, but Arcady, there's all the way, if I'm not wrong, the biggest unit should be the penthouse at 5 bedroom, but there are typical 4 bedrooms over there. So all the way, 1 study to 4 bedroom, as compared to just a 1-2 bedroom, it feels very transient. People have lesser ownership because the kids are not staying there, the family is not staying there, they're all just being rented out. So from just a unit mix per se, I feel that Arcady can stand out from these developments. Next one, you can see this is the last one that was just sold actually in that area, but it has also achieved DOP. But these 3 residences, if you look at the map, you'll see that it's an in-between of nowhere, and it's very hard for you to walk to the MRT station. It's further away towards the just walking down towards Potong Pasir side, but just further away. I'll say this is the modern layout, but even then, with a modern layout, I would also doubt some of the design. For example, if you look at just a 2 bedroom at 700 square feet, why do you need a balcony that extends all the way to the master bedroom? A 2 bedroom at 700 square feet, I think it just makes sense to suffice with a balcony that just fits nicely the width of a living room. And you can see it's also very thick. So it's just thick and long and still extends to the master bedroom. You sacrifice the master bedroom privacy. Importantly, it takes up, important square footage that can be used inside the apartment as usable area. Okay, and look at the 1 bedroom. You got an L-shaped unit like this. It's already 463. You got L-shape. I think it's even more waste of space. You only can put a dining table. Although the balcony is tiny, actually this balcony also to me is neither here nor there. You can't really put a table. At most you're just putting your clothes there to dry, right? But a dining like that can only just fit 2 and then jut out from the wall and then just next to the washer, dryer and stove, don't really have a dedicated space as compared to the the normal rectangle kind. So this is a suspect, right? The layout itself. So these are the competition. That's why when I look at that, I feel that, Arcady, of course, whatever, inherent issues that they have, right, it can still stand out in as compared to all these developments. Talking about supply also, you want to understand, what are some of these new launch freeholds that's coming up on the market. So in this particular map, you will realize I've already put down those that are more credible. You see there are a lot. You find that there's a lot, right? But when you drill down, a lot of them are only 50 units plus minus or even lesser that are upcoming, the new ones, because there's no en bloc. There's really no en bloc happening. It's harder and harder to en bloc land. It's more expensive, and a lot of resale owners, they are holding out for higher and higher price. Okay, the ones that are highlighted in red over here are good comparison, they are quite similar, but you realize also the pricing is quite steep. For example, you look at Wharton, the land price, the PSF over there is stated as a land price, but Wharton itself more than 3,000 PSF, right? 172 unit of 4 is Arcady is stated down there. And then you have the former Mayor Park, which is coming up as Mayor Blue. It's likely to be, I don't know, in excess of 3,000 PSF, likely because of the sea view. And then you got Newport, which cancelled their launch, but I think having a freehold right in the city centre is very rare because there are a lot of Tanjong Pagar and Raffles area, they're all 99 years. So I think that should be easily 3,500 to 4,000. That's why, if I'm not wrong, by CDL also. Other one like La Ville and Bangna Court, I think it's a bit far and it's also around the 100 range unit. And it's really, you can look at the land price, it's also not cheap. So they're just very limited, upcoming new freehold supply. So one thing is assessing your current competition. Secondly, again, leading indicators. These are the leading indicators. I know for sure that there's very rare, there's scarcity of supply of this good new launch near to MRT, RCR location, good sizable mid-size freehold developments at 172 units. So I hope you understand where I'm coming from. This is talking about the upcoming supply. Similarly, this chart will also show you, right, that en bloc are not happening. So even right now, this year, I don't think there's any notable en blocs, but there are always people selling. I know Pine Grove, but I haven't seen any, successful ones that got bidded, right? So you can see the volumes have been very low since 2019. Okay, maybe interest rate drop, it will come down. Interest rate drop, the more en blocs will happen, but I believe any en bloc that happen, the land price will be more and more expensive also, and that would help, Arcady buyer to exit in the future. Of course, we have to look at the attributes also, the attributes in terms of the location. Now, if you look at this location, a quick one, okay, purple line, we should be very familiar with this location. Okay, Boon Keng alone, okay, there's a wet market, there is the Bendemeer market, and these are all walking distance. It's just at the MRT station. And that area, you even got Bangawang Solo, you got a lot of fruits, you got bread. I saw a Taiwan noodle there recently when I walked into that area. So it's a very bustling mini, a heartland area. Actually, heartland area are the best because this is a very mature estate, right? Mature old estates gives you a lot of amenities, and that's what locals like myself love. You can buy things cheaply, your hawker centers, your whatever convenience store is all there. And you even got KFC on one side of the road, and on the other side of the road, you got McDonald's. So it's quite complete, except for maybe a mega mall, all right, at Boon Keng Station. But you will realize in this image that I show you, 3 stops up and 3 stops down, there are 5 malls. In fact, just 1 stop away is Farrer Park. Farrer Park is, of course, City Square Mall. City Square Mall to me is one of the mall that is quite underappreciated because you seldom ask people to meet at City Square. But the City Square Mall, which is owned by CDL, it's ginormous. I don't know how many floors. And you know that Decathlon, the first Decathlon store was opened in this mall, and then after that expanded. So you got your Hai Di Lao, you got everything down there now, right? It's now undergoing a massive renovation I think even to expand the space, to turn one car park area into more retail space or F&B space. So that's 1 stop away. Of course, you got your newly opened Ule Mall, you got your Serangoon Next. These are just 3 stops up, and then 3 stops down, the 3rd stop down, it's Dhoby Ghaut, the massive interchange, Plaza Singapura. So, well, I don't know. I think this is a quite undervalued location that not many people looked at, partly because it has also very, very limited land in the area. Everything, again, it's mature and it's fully built up. Okay, so location-wise, it's fantastic. Unless you want something private, very private, yes, this area, there's a lot of HDB, but in exchange, again, you get tons of amenities. Okay, Now, what is the transformation there that's very exciting that I think will change, the entire story about this, the entire narrative about this place altogether, which hasn't happened for the last maybe at least 10, 15 years ago. Okay, the ones that are circled in this map, okay, in purple, you realize these are HDB clusters. And all these HDB clusters are the new clusters that just, either building or already received MOP. And the good news to know that any of the new BTOs here, they are inside either the prime or the plus, the new housing model. So these are really categorized as the cream of the crop HDBs because of the location and because of the proximity to the MRT station. But those which have already received MOP and started with, I think, DBSS City View and the Bendemeer Lights normal HDB has already hit 1 million well comfortably. In fact, I've sold a unit at St. George Towers, which a 4-room is also transacting. Even on low floors, actually all the units there are transacting above a mil already. St. George Tower, the one I highlighted in thick red circle. So why this is important, if you realize why the OCR location are doing very well, okay, this one, please take note, please slow down and listen, is because mainly there are a lot of BTOs in the area. And when there's BTO in the area, for example, if the BTO are bought at around 300 to 400,000, and the resale in the area can sell at least 600 plus to 800, okay? In other words, when the government is selling the BTO, it's kind of throwing money into the area because at any point of time, these people can always, sell at a resale value. So it's like instant profit for the couples over there, for the families that's being set up over there. And eventually with this grant, also called this inherent grant that's being gifted, right, when they exit at a higher price, then they will probably buy somewhere that is nearer, maybe due to familiarities, after growing up in the area, having a kid in the area, and you'll realize the area will start to prosperous. So if you ask me why all the outskirt locations started with Punggol, all this, and then now with Bukit Batok, which is bustling, it used to be all the forests over there, right, Brickland Road and all this whatnot. Now why is it doing so well? I think mainly it's because of the BTOs and the locals doing well, the income's going well. At the same time, their housing prices are also going up. So when they exit, they buy somewhere near, they cash out, that's where the entire area grows. So exactly it's the same when you look at Arcady. The reason why people don't have a good feel and why probably the prices didn't increase as much, I feel is because there's a lack of all these newer BTOs. But moving forward, you will see more and more. So in this chart over here, you'll realize that since 2016, okay, slowly, since 800,000, it has comfortably reached the 1 million mark. And you can see more and more volumes depicted in this bar chart already. So it's well established. And you can see all the recent transactions over here. It is at least 900 over 1,000 to more than 1 million. So, for example, people that bought in St. George, this one just St. George, there's 3 towers over there. It's just received MOP probably 3 to 4 months ago. Those people that bought, they've only bought at around 500k because I sold a unit over here. And now people are exiting comfortably at least at a mil. And I sold a 4-room at more than 1.05 million. And the valuation is matched. I mean, this is some of the on-the-ground information that I can give to the audiences here. It's matched. You don't even have to pay a COV for that. So it shows that the government is valuing this area at a high price tag. Right, so the fact that they can exit and pocket 500,000 means that they can go out there. Probably if they still want to be there, they are very familiar with the area. The area will grow because there's more money being pumped into that area. Okay, it also means, in other words, I would say when you're buying into a certain project over there, of course a bigger unit will benefit is that maybe all these people eventually when they MOP and moved out, when you want to buy another property, these are your hinterland, these are your audiences. So it's a better exit strategy also when you have all these $1 million HDBs. So it's not ending. If you can see just now in the chart, there are a lot that's under construction if you drive over down there, and they are all going to be under the prime housing model. So it's not going to be cheap. All right. So this is the transformation happening in that location. So when we look into the attributes of this condo, this image, just a quick one. This image, I think, tells the entire story I want to share with you guys. Okay, because all the developments over there, they just look like normal rectilinear buildings, nothing fanciful. It just feels like the developer just want to build and make money. But you look at the greenery, the effort on the wood, look alike design, the darker theme style, blend in with the greeneries. I think it's beautiful. And I just show you at a certain level over here, just to emphasize the attention to details in curating certain spaces. Again, I want to emphasize that you cannot use this, you must always look this in context. We cannot compare this with, let's say, a 500 to 1,000 unit development where there's many, facilities altogether. So for a freehold mid-sized development in that area, I think it is very, very luxurious. It will really stand out. Just look at the fact that at this floor, I think one of the first story landscaping deck, if you look at number 5 is where the kids playground is. There's a kids playground in a freehold development, a small boutique freehold development. It's a plus point already. And the fact that on the second story facility deck, okay, look at number 28, there's a kids party deck. And then next to it at 29, you got a kids club. I think that's an enclosed space. Maybe you can book it. Maybe like your kid's birthday party, you can book it. Of the fact there's 172 units and there's all these curated spaces and it's catered for kids and family, I think it means that this place would be quite sought after and it will attract families to stay. Yeah, and it will just stand out from the rest, man. I think this is better than a lot of other bigger condos that I've seen. Even I just received a key for 5 Derbyshire. There's only one swimming pool and a few exercise machines, that's all. This one, you have everything. So it reminds me of Sky Everton, and that's at the Everton area, the Everton Park, Everton Road area, Spottiswoode area. It's something similar. I think it's beautiful because I've seen certain developments like this that I can roughly picture with certainty of how it's going to turn out. All right, so I think this would be very attractive just from the attributes per se, but I'm not going to go so much into it because eventually if you are interested, you may want to just contact me and have a look at the show model itself. All right, lastly, okay, hope you have been staying with me throughout. So this is the risk and reward. Okay, chart. This risk and reward is a big topic together, but I just show you just one slide, the most important one, in fact. This is comparing the prices across all the new launch developments, right? So where do we stand? Okay, if you look at it, there's only 3 developments over here that are highlighted that is freehold. Of course, one is Arcady. The average pricing is 2.5 to 2.6, right? And just comparing the other 2 developments at Terra Hills and Continuum, subjective, I mean, you can say they're better, they're bigger developments, yes, but they're trading at 2.7, 2.8 PSF average already. So in fact, when you're comparing them, it's already cheaper when you're comparing freehold and freehold. But when you look at the other developments which are 99 years and in fairly similar locations, some which are also not that near MRT station, like for example, like Pine Tree Hills, or even Landmark, which is not near MRT station, they are already transacting around the same price. You can see over here, the average pricing is around 2.5, right? 2.4 all the way to 2.8, high 2.7s, right? The fact that it is freehold next to MRT station with amenities, with transformation and everything is comparable with the 99 years. Yes, it's a smaller development, plus minus the pros and cons. I feel there's some value over here that people are missing out. Okay, it's still quite severely undersold. The 2 bedrooms are selling out fast, but there's still 2+ studies starting from 1.9 to 2 mil. I think this is a very good entry for freehold developments, especially now even for 99 years. A 2-bed, 2-bath is already transacting well above 1.5, 1.6. And this is existing developments that I'm comparing. I think the new ones, they're making a lot of news, a lot of reviews on them, like Chuan Park, like Toa Payoh, all this. I think Chuan Park, I'm not too sure, but I think the news on the ground, but do wait for the official one. There's a lot of fake news around. News on the ground that it should be around 2.5, at least 2.5 to 2.7. That's a bigger development. Yes, I know it's next door to the Lorong Chuan MRT station, but I think this one also do have certain value down there, right? So don't miss out. I mean, if you're keen to explore, this is something interesting. Again, to me, I'm always just keeping an open mind to be very objective and looking out for good buys on the market. So I hope you've enjoyed this sharing. Okay, I'm not sharing the entire project, just a snippet, but the important ones, right? If you want a deeper understanding, or maybe whether even if this is a good fit for you, to reach out to me. All right, thanks, and I'll see you in my next episode.